Hello students, now we are studying the next topic, that is economic importance of protozoa. So here in this chapter we study the kingdom Protista. We have studied the different characters of the protists. Then we study one of the we also study the characters of phylum Protozoa, as well as the one of the example from protozoa, that is Paramecium caudatum, in the detail. And now we are going to study the economic importance of protozoa. Okay, so here in case of the economic importance of protozoa, we study how these protozoans they are useful, or how these protozoans they are harmful, because in both the way the protozoans they are uh, or the protozoans having their importance, because some of the protozoans they are present in water, some of them they are present in the moist soil, some of them they are present in the air, they are act as the parasites, means they are present in the body of plants or animals, etc., or in some cases they are act as a commensals. So in variety of ways the protozoans they either harm the human being, or they are useful for the human beings. Okay, and since if they are useful, we say that the protozoans they are beneficial, but many of the protozoans are there which are harmful to the human being. So how it is useful, or how it is beneficial, and how it is harmful, we will study it, and we collectively call it as the economic importance of the protozoa. Now initially we study the useful protozoa. Okay, so already we discussed some of them they are useful, some of them they are harmful. So how they are useful? In the first, the protozoans they are we can use the protozoa as a food. So these protozoans they are microscopic organism, and these microscopic organism, when they are aquatic in habitat, means they are present in the water, they are act as a food material for different types of animals. And when they act as a different food material for different types of animal, we called them as the zooplanktons. uh, so the zooplanktons they are useful as a food material. Now there are many of the larvae of different variety of animals, for the crustaceans animals or the insect larva, uh, and many different types of worms are there which are present in the different types of habitat, and they feed on the different protozoa. If we just consider these protozoa, which are act as a food material for the insect larva, then many of the crustaceans and worms, etc., and these insects worms they are eaten up by the fishes, lobsters, and many other aquatic animals. Means what? And all those animals they are eaten up by the human being. And since the protozoa they are useful as a food, because there is a food chain, these protozoa means zooplanktons they are eaten up by the insect larva, worms, or crustaceans. These insect larva, crustaceans they are eaten up by the different types of the fishes, lobsters, etc., and these are eaten up by the human being, means indirectly we are eating the protozoans. Okay, so this is the first use, we use the protozoa as a food. Then secondly, it is helpful in the process of sanitization. How? Now we will just study how the protozoans they are useful. See, the protozoa which are living in a polluted water, and these protozoa, already we said that in Paramecium we study that the Paramecium is present in the habitat where the organic matter is present in a higher amount. Okay, so when we said that the polluted water contain the highest waste organic matter, and when the organic matter is act as a food material for the protozoans, when they eat on the organic material, slowly and slowly what happened, the material or this organic matter which is act as the pollutant, but these pollutants are eaten up by the protozoans, and since we said that it is helpful for process of the sanitization. Okay, the next thing is that many different types of the protozoa, they are present in the symbiotic association, and since we call them as the symbiotic protozoa. For example, see that Trichonympha. This Trichonympha which lived in the gut of the termite and the wood roaches, and this relationship is a symbiotic relationship. So the termite which provide the food material to these protozoa, and in return the protozoa will help the termite by digesting the cellulose which is eaten up by the termite. So this is the symbiotic relationship which is also helpful for one another. So both, in this case, both the partners, they get benefited with each other. And since we are saying that this relationship is a good or symbiotic relationship, and since the protozoa, they are useful in the symbiotic relationship. Then the next one is the oceanic ooze and the fossil protozoa. Okay, so here in this point we will discuss how the fossil protozoa, they are useful. Okay, see, many tiny skeletons which are remain in the pelagic marine protozoa, and they remain sink to the, actually these dead marine protozoans, they remain sink to the sea bottom, and they forming a soft mud, or we also called it as the oceanic ooze. And this oceanic ooze, which is made up of the calcium carbonate as well as the silica, and this these deposits which become solid, and it will become fossilized and converted into the rock. Okay, so we call it as the sedimentary rock strata, and these type of rocks, they are present everywhere in the world in the ocean. Okay, and since it is possible, or formation of rocks which is possible due to the skeleton of the dead pelagic marine protozoa. Okay, so when the protozoans, they become dead, their skeleton which remains sink to the bottom, it will get converted into initially it is get converted into oceanic ooze, and then it is become solid, and then it becomes fossilified and converted into the rock strata. Okay, so here since the protozoa, they are helpful. Then next to that, the protozoa which we use them as the animals for scientific study, means it is necessary to study them, and since the scientific, for performing the scientific study, we are using the different types of the protozoans, because these protozoans, they are very simple to understand, and we are used them in a biological and as well as the medical research. So whatever the biological research or medical research takes place, we are done that biological and medical research with the help of the different types of the small sized protozoa. As these protozoa, they are small in size, as well as their rate of reproduction is very high, because within a short period, means within 2 hours, because already we studied in the paramecium that paramecium can undergo the process of binary fission after, or it completed the binary fission after 2 hours. Means what, within a very short period they multiply very fast, they grow very fast. And since due to the quick reproduction and small in size, it is possible to study many of the aspects in the protozoans, as well as we can also study the hereditary and variation, and this heredity and variation which is correlate with the genetics. So it is very simple to study the genetics in the protozoans, because they are small in size, they possesses comparatively less complicated body, and the number of the phenotypes, or we can say that the characters which are expressed by those protozoans, they are very less, and the number of chromosomes are also very less. So it is become very easy for us to study their biological as well as medical different types of the medical research on the protozoans. Then the next one, that is the oil exploration. So here the petroleum, which is organic in origin, and already in the point oceanic ozone and fossil protozoa we study that the oceanic ozone is produces, and after slowly and slowly it becomes solid, then fossilified, and then the rock formation is takes place. So here the skeleton deposits of a specific type of the protozoa, they often found in association with the oil deposits, and since the geologists they can find out the exact location of the oil deposit. Means what, the oil or these protozoans, they are actually remain in contact with the oil, okay, because their habit, they require the habitat where the oil is present, and since we can say that as they are remain in association with the oil deposit, we can easily find out the location of the oil deposits. Okay, so this is about the oil exploitation. Since the knowledge of the fossil protozoa, which is very essential for find out the location of the oil. Okay, so all these are the uses or how the protozoans, they are beneficial to the mankind. Okay, now we will study how they are harmful. So the next point is that harmful protozoa. See here, many different types of the protozoa, they are act as the we are saying that they are just act as the parasites. Okay, and since we call them as the harmful protozoa. So the first point is that the water pollution. Okay, see here, some of the protozoans, they are helpful for the process of purification, but some of them, they are responsible for contaminating the water. Okay, and when such a type of the protozoans like the um, Eurogelenopis, which pollutes the water, some of the free living protozoa, actually they produces the odor, and that odor is not good, means we are unable to tolerate that particular odor, and since such a water is become unfit for the process of drinking. And since we are saying that the some of the protozoans, not every, but some of the protozoans, they are responsible for polluting the water. Okay, then next to that, reduction of soil fertility. Some species are there which are present in the soil. Specifically, the moist soil is act as the habitat for them. So when they are present in the moist soil, they feed on the nitrifying bacteria, and when they feed on the nitrifying bacteria, the fertility of the soil decreases, because we know that some of the plants are there, on their roots the nodules are there, and those nodules possesses the nitrifying bacteria. So these nitrifying bacteria, they are converting the atmospheric nitrogen in the another form, nitrate form, which is helpful for the plants. Okay, but these nitrifying bacteria, they are eaten up by the protozoans, and as these protozoa, they are just feeds upon these nitrifying bacteria, the percentage of the nitrifying bacteria decreases, and since the conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate is also get affected, since we said that the soil fertility is also reduces. Then the third is parasitic protozoa. So here many different types of the protozoa are there, which either lived inside the body of the host or outside the body of the host. So whether they are depending inside or outside the body of the host, but they are responsible for causing different type of diseases in the host, and since we call them as the parasitic protozoa. So depending on their location, we called them as the ectoparasites. Okay, Okay, one first type is the ectoparasite and another type is known as the endoparasite. So in case of ectoparasites, they are present on the external surface, body surface of the host. Okay, and they are very less in a number, but actually there are few who act as an ectoparasite. For example, the hydroamoeba, which is act as the ectoparasite, and they are present in the epidermis of the hydra. And when they are present as an ectoparasite, the hydra is suffer from, or the hydra is a sufferer, and that particular protozoa get benefit from the hydra. Then the another example is their Costa necratrix, which is found in the epidermal cells of the fishes. Okay, so there are many such a type of the fishes. They are responsible for forming either the integumentary blister or they causes the necrosis. Okay, so this is about the ectoparasites. Many different types of the endoparasitic protozoa are also there. Endoparasite means what? They are present inside the body of the host. Since we call them as the endoparasites, and when they are present inside the body, they causes the diseases, and sometimes that particular organism die. So the Cenozoic protozoa are there, Histozoic protozoa are there, and the Cytozoic protozoa are there. So many different types of the protozoans are there, which when present inside the body of the host, they causes different type of the diseases. Okay, so there are many different types, okay, of the endoparasites. For example, entamoeba, which is the type of the Cenozoic protozoa, because it lives in the body cavity, coelom. We call it as a coelom since we call it as the Cenozoic protozoa. Entamoeba, Balantidium, these are the examples of the Cenozoic protozoa. Then the second type of the protozoa is their Histozoic protozoa. For example, Trypanosoma. Then the Giardia and the entamoeba, they are present in between the host cells, and since we call it as the histozoic, histo, it is related with the cells or tissues. Then cytozoic protozoa are there. They lived inside the host cell. For example, Plasmodium and Babesia. They lived in the blood cell of the host and causing different type of the diseases. Okay, so these are the different types of the protozoa. Like the parasitic protozoa, the pathogenic protozoas are also there. See, these are pathogenic protozoas which causing the diseases, and since they are called as the pathogenic protozoa. So there are 25 different types of the pathogenic protozoas which are found, and according to their location or site of action inside the body of the host, we are classifying them into different types of the groups. Okay, so in the next video we will study the pathogenic protozoa in a detail. Thank you.